Bro.
They're gonna be pissed.
Furious. That's the best thing about it, is pissing off everyone who hasn't got one. 60 in the world. 60 in the world, Luke.
Man.
How did we pull this off? Didn't I see you working in Chipotle?
Yeah.
Bro, Tristan used
I
to,
was a brokey.
You were a brokey. Tristan used to work in Pret. He was a brokey. And I used to work in a fishmonger's carrying boxes of ice.
We used to be brokies.
We were brokies.
I want to make something very clear. I come from a very poor family. My mother and father broke up when I was 11. My father stayed in America to play chess. There's no money in pro chess. My mom and I, we all moved to a homeless shelter in Luton, England. I grew up in a homeless shelter. So I grew up as poor as you can go. And I went to a council house, went to a really bad school.
Full house. It's just us two. Oh, you're full? Full.
Nathan and Andrew have been looking for a cheap hotel for well over an hour, but haven't been able to find anywhere within their budget.
I had no money. I'm carrying boxes of ice. I'm a smart guy. I'm not playing chess anymore, right? Oh, I need to do something which drains me so that I can go to sleep at night without frustration. And if I kickbox, if I run 3 miles to the gym and then fight for 3 hours and run 3 miles home, at least I can sleep. I literally couldn't sleep. Kickboxing was my answer. I just started kicking people's ass and I just felt a little bit better. That was kind of how it worked.
When I was 21, me and Andrew used to have no food. I used to drive my broken Volkswagen Golf to the KFC restaurant in Dunstable, United Kingdom, and I used to sit in my car. And you couldn't ever eat anyone's leftover food if they ever had their mouth on it, but at KFC they used to buy buckets, and I would sit and wait for people to sit outside, eat their meal, and leave the bucket on the table. And I used to go and take that bucket, 3 or 4 pieces of chicken, and I used to collect 20, 30, 40 pieces of chicken that were perfectly fine left in the buckets, and I used to go home and I used to freeze that chicken. And me and Andrew would break it up, put it in our rice, and that was our meal. That's what sustained us for that hard year, that year we had when I was 21 and you were 22. That's how broke we were. I used to scavenge chicken from KFC because I thought, fuck it, I'm not dying and I'm not losing my kickboxing fights because I don't have enough protein. What am I going to do to make it through the day? That's how broke I was.
Growing up around a bunch of other poor kids, and we'd be walking to school or walking to college, and a Ferrari would drive past. And they'd go, oh, cool, Ferrari. And I'd say, doesn't that annoy you? And they're like, what do you mean? He knows, he's hacked the Matrix. Don't you see? How does he have 400 grand for a car? He knows something we don't know. Aren't you annoyed that there's people out there living a lifestyle that we can't ever aspire to? We're never gonna work a job and pull this off. Doesn't this bother you? And they all be like, no. But me, I was always angry.
One of the most telling points of mine in Andrew's life is at the time he was just fighting. Because Andrew turned around to me one day when I got home and he said, you know, bro, I'm just going to start selling for insulated conservatories. I'm going to get your job. We'll combine our money. We'll be on £3,000 a week. It's not bad. I looked at him in the eye. I said, Andrew, you can't do that. You can't accept that job. You can't come work for my company because once you do, then that's who we're going to be. You've got to think of something better. You do your training, you do your fighting, you're exhausted all day. Take the time, spend the day thinking, researching, and find something better. I'm going to go and make the money. I'm going to make sure that our heads stay above water. And that's one of the most important decisions we ever made.
So I sat in my room. Next day I wake up. All right, I need to get rich. And I'm starting from nothing, right? So I get on my laptop and I start Googling, what is money? Where does it come from? How does money work? And then I started learning about fractional reserve banking, the Federal Reserve, how it's not linked to gold anymore. I didn't even understand how banks worked. I didn't understand any of this shit. I started looking it all up and I spent a good 3 or 4 days studying. And then I got really angry because I realized that money is bullshit. It's all a lie. It's printed from the sky and I still don't have any.
Are all the no Bugatti people poor?
Of course they are!
Are we all like, but Lambo owners poor?
Yeah.
Oh shit! This thing goes!
I'm now the most famous man on the planet. I'm more Googled than Donald Trump, Joe Biden. I've conquered the world.
Whoa!
How much are you worth?
I'm a billionaire by now. This week in between Christmas and New Year is perhaps the most wasted week of the year. Nobody does anything significant. You're sitting around, it's just been Christmas, and you just want to wait, etc., etc., etc. If you start at the same time as everybody else, you don't have an advantage over everybody else. If you're going to run a race, you want to go first, don't you? So do you have to wait for the calendar to reset because you really need that little bit of extra motivation to not be a lazy piece of shit? Do you need to see a number 1 on the calendar to get up